Hi Joe,
Great to see you, man.
nice to meet you, man.
You too. I'm new to this game, so I need you to look after me today.
Yeah,
This is
I know.
this is brand new, and I'm meeting the top. So
Yeah. Honestly, I can see myself in the future doing these things.
yeah,
so,
I heard you say that not long
Yeah.
ago. You like the interaction?
Yeah, interaction, podcast also. I like the podcast, the idea of talking.
Why don't you start?
Ah, come on, right now I cannot.
Yeah, but you do business degrees, you do
Yeah.
this, you do that. You can do everything.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're good.
My missus sometimes want to kill me. She's in the stadium, it's like, don't do that pass, please. Jack Grealish was the first one. Rodri is on fire. It became massive, like, oh my goodness.
Why is 1990 the last defensive midfielder to win the Ballon d'Or?
In the game, I try to be kind of the coach. I'm not Pep.
Okay, Rodri, amazing to sit down with you. Very, very exciting times for you personally in your career. I was part of this Manchester City team that first qualified for the Champions League. And then we realised straight away, this is different.
How tough it is, yeah.
This is different. You scored that winning goal. How does it feel to have your name in history with this football club?
Well, of course, being able to score that goal, that kind of being champions of Europe and bringing the city and Manchester City into this history makes me so proud and so happy about these lads that many of them have tried for the last 7-8 years. And as you can know how tough it is because it's a different competition.
Why is it so tough? Why is it so tough?
It's tricky.
At the top.
I think it's tricky. I think you need the experience to know how to win it, and I think now we have that experience. It's not about playing good. It's not about being better on paper. It's about moments. It's about, in my opinion, being solid, very solid, don't concede, and being very efficient on front. Real Madrid, for example, in this sense, I remember the game they go against Liverpool,
Yep.
and they were 2-0 down, and I saw their faces. I was like, these guys are not worried. And I was saying to the lads, guys, you seen their faces, like they're not kind of, okay, we will overcome this situation, don't worry. So this calm, of course, gives you the experience, but it's tricky in this sense. I couldn't explain. I think it's something you have to live, and when you win it, you realize how tough it is, because we won that final. I remember on paper, let's say we were favorites,
Yep.
but in the game, you go into the final, we're like, they could win it. And it was by this detail that we won it, so yeah, it's very, very tricky.
Rodri's on fire. How does that make you feel? Because I see that sung with so much passion, and maybe it's not necessarily a song that you knew before, but how does that make you feel?
Well, all of this started in the celebration of the Champions League. In the dressing room, of course, happy, dancing, and Jack Grealish was the first one. Rodri is on fire, and they were following it, and of course I think they would post it on the media, and it became massive. It became that massive that I go in summer to wherever, Costa Rica or wherever, and they waiting me on the hotel singing that song. It's like, oh my goodness, and yeah, it became massive. I cannot regret it.
Good, great energy. I love that song.
Yeah, it's good.
And I'm just looking in the background there. Talk to me about this summer. I was there in June. A big moment for the Spanish national team. Difficult moment for me as an Englishman. How was that feeling? How was that journey?
As you know, you wear the Three Lions shirt. Is the most important thing, like representing your country. So winning with your country is a dream come true. And even though the way we did it, like beating all the teams, all the countries we beat, and even England, of course, in the final, that we know what generation they have. I said the guys before the Euros, I like, honestly, with the team you have, you could win the Euros with 3 different teams. So yeah, it was great.
So obviously the Spanish national team growing up, I've heard stories of how you watched the 2010 success. How does it feel to be there for the start of the new coming?
Well, as you said, my first memories was 2006, 2008, when Spain started winning with these 2 Euros and the World Cup. And of course, it was massive for the country. In my opinion, maybe the best generation ever, because no one has reached these 3 tournaments in a row. So having been the next generation of these guys is not easy, you know. There were different kind of players, unique players that we're not gonna repeat it. We win in our own way, with our quality, with our personality, building what we build. So I think we're building something great for the future also. We have a very young generation, and yeah, very satisfied what we've done, but we don't want to stop here. We look forward for the Nations League, for the World Cup in the future, and to be honest, we have a lot of expectations of the team we have.
Yeah, incredible team, and you were genuinely a joy to watch in the tournament. The football that was played and you guys stamping your authority on the tournament was really impressive. But 27 games, Spanish teams, club and country, unbeaten in finals. What's the key? How do you guys do it at such a level? And that's me asking as an Englishman. Yeah. What is the key? Why do you guys always find a way?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. I think when you play a final, we just have to visualize you winning and not caring or not being afraid of what are the consequences. I think that's, in my opinion, the most important thing in a final. Just give everything. Don't think on the bad consequences of losing. I think that's the key. But yeah, I think it's a culture. I always say the same. When you win, you are closer to win again. So make sure you kind of build that culture of winning. Here at City we can see. So that's the most important thing in my opinion.
I've heard that from a young age, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you played chess to a very high level. Is that game and that strategy something that you bring into your football game? And if so, how do you implement that, or how do you implement other things that you like to do in life to help you take control of that football field?
Football, in my case, it wasn't the first option. That's why when I was 16 and I finished high school, you call here at school, my father said, you're going to do a degree. You're going to go to the university, no matter what happened. And this is what I did. And then when I stopped playing the first division, I cannot say, okay, now I know I can live from football. I can stop studying. But even though I finished my degree, and something I'm very proud of it helps me in that time when I stopped playing first division to don't be oversaturated on football, have other things help me. And it's something I really recommend to the kids that are growing. Never left the studies, because it makes you better no matter what you do. And they will say, yeah, but it's a lot of work. It's like, yeah, I got it. But if I can do it, everyone can do it.
Incredible. And as a father, that's exactly the message that I want to give to my children. You talk about children, you know, they want to get to know you. They want to ask you questions. You've chosen to stay away from social media, which I totally respect. And from this small bit of time that I've spent with you, I think I can understand why. But how do people know you? How do they get to know you? And what are the reasons why you're not interacting on social media?
Well, first of all, what I can say is a decision I made very, very early. Like it wasn't normal for a kid my age have that personality to say no. Because normally you do what the other kids do. Yep. And I remember my age was the age of they start these platforms. I said, no, I don't need this. I have my surround of friends. I go to the park, I hang with them in the village or wherever. I don't need to find new friends on the net. So it's not a decision I made 3 years ago. So for me it was easy to don't have it, because I never need the feeling. The problem today, I think, in this society is they kind of say you need this, you need this, you need this. And at the end you say, do I need all of these things? No, I don't really need these things. I like to live life how it is, you know, the real life. Kind of met you, I never met you, and we're chilling here today, and in the real life, not today you message me, or, you know, these kind of things. For me, the relationships face to face are the real ones.
No, I completely agree with you, and that's such a refreshing point of view. So just a little bit of fun. Rodri the player, incredibly focused, incredibly organised, a great teammate. If I were to walk into that dressing room and ask Kyle, Walker or Kevin De Bruyne, can you describe Rodri the person? What do you think these guys would have to say?
I have a lot of character, they would say. What else? I think they would say I'm very funny guy in some moments. And I'm the target, quite the target of all the jokes in the team, so I think they would say that.
In a dressing room, if someone like you, who's a main player, and they can have fun with you, trust me, that gives everyone that freedom.
I want to say one thing, because as the same thing I said about social media and maybe dressing normal, sometimes I have a lot of jokes like, oh, where you buy this t-shirt, where do you buy this dress all day? I was like, leave me alone, come on. Yeah, these kind of things, because I'm very normal, and sometimes they don't understand that I'm so normal in these things. So that's why I get most of the jokes.
What does a day in the life look like for you? How do you, I want to know, from waking up to going to bed. This is a training day, not a match day.
Okay. Yeah, normally we train in the morning, 9:30 we have to be here, so this is something bad, but I like arriving just in the time, because I like sleeping. That's something I cannot handle with. So you have to be at 9:30, I wake up at 8:55. Really? Yeah, straight 5 minutes change and I go into the training. So more or less I leave the CFA at 2:30, and yeah, go back home. I always do la siesta, very famous in Spain. 1 hour, 2 hours, depends. And then I wake up, and depends on the day. My missus is always pushing me to do things. Let's go here, let's go there. Normally what we do is we buy some stuff in Sainsbury to lunch, and we go to a park and have it, or have a walk, and yeah, normal things.
I'd love to know, how do you see your role as a whole in this team, in the national team, in Manchester City? What is your role?
Oof, good question. To be honest, it's very, very big, of course. I think the holding midfielder is the guy on the pitch with more responsibilities in terms of things to control. You have to make sure the team works. You have to make sure no one is lazy or distracted. When the team doesn't work, kind of is your fault. So you have to make sure you're kind of a coach in the pitch. I'm not Pep in the pitch in that sense, because he overthink the situations and the thing, and I'm more simple in that. Maybe the teams change and they say they start with 5 and then they change with 4, and I have to be okay. They change 4, now we have to, instead of being 3 in the back, we have to do 2 and 1 here, and something I've learned. My first year I was a disaster. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking me about. Just let me play football. But it's something you manage to learn. But I try as a player to be as good as defensive and as offensive. I think that's the key for a very good or for a good midfielder.
50 plus goal involvements for Manchester City, scoring such important goals. You look so comfortable higher up the pitch, yet you choose to play that defensive midfield role, which isn't as glamorous. Why do you love playing that position? Well,
you have to go back since I was little. I remember my father one day told me, you have to be midfielder because it's the most funny one. You kind of visualize everything. You are in touch with the ball all the time. So in terms of the goals and assists and importance, it's something I built. One day I said, why I cannot try to improve in this? Like I think I'm able to do this. I think I have a good shooting. I think I'm good in the last third. So why I cannot exploit this part? And little by little, I realized myself that I could do it. I'm not saying it's my first role, of course. I know my role and I know what I have to do. But if I can help the team in these moments, it gives me a lot of impact. And in the team, as we can see, the midfielders today have more presence in the last third than in the past.
Rodri, I've seen you. Me personally, I'm a failed striker. Like many defensive players, we move further and further back in the field because we just can't impact that final third.
This never happened to me, to be fair. I always know that because my physical conditions, because I'm not fast, because I cannot dribble, because I cannot play winger. So it's something I've known, my own body, my skills, what I'm better, what I'm worst, and that was the perfect position for me. Of course, I've been more holding midfield. I've been more number 8 or number 10, depends on the age. But in the middle always. And this is, I think, is advantage because it's a position since you are 6, 7, 8. The problem I see if you play left back and then at the age of 15 you turn, let's say, holding midfielder, is like there's not many years you can practice in that role. So yeah, for me it's always been the same, that position.
There's moments in games, Manchester City games especially, where the stadium goes, Edison passes the ball to you. There's two people pressing you, but the calmness and the control that the team has. How do you get on the same wavelength?
Well, first of all, I have to say that my missus sometimes want to kill me when she's in the stadium. It's like, don't do that pass, please. But yeah, it's what, like the modern football works and what Pep needs. But yes, it's a matter of a lot of trust on the keeper. We can see, for example, you remember the pass he gave on the line.
Yes.
Against Liverpool. He was like so chill. And sometimes I get mad with him because it's like you cannot be that chill being a keeper, And yeah, it's about trust, and he's the guy who trusts more on ourselves. Someday you will fail, someday you will miss a pass. It happened to me. I missed a pass and they regained it was a goal. But trying and missing a pass is not what Pep is going to regret. What he's going to regret is not being brave, is not doing what we practice. They say, I don't care if you miss a goal or you miss I want you to be brave, to dribble, to try something different. So this kind of personality is what Pep loves.
Conversations about Ballon d'Ors. Lothar Matthäus, 1990, the last defensive midfielder to win the Ballon d'Or. Why is that position not getting the world accolade it deserves?
I think that role it was more defensive than offensive. And we all know that football, the marketing of football, what the fans love about football is scoring goals and assists. And I think because of this makes the decisions always to be part of the strikers, wingers, forward midfielders.
The Ballon d'Or, it closes down to a calendar year, an incredible Premier League, a European Championship with the Spain national team, player of the tournament. So there's that recognition, player of the tournament in that Spanish winning team. Is it time for a change?
Well, I said after the final, I would love that a Spanish player win it. I think we deserve all these years because we have the best period in our history and we didn't want it, of course, because we have the two beasts we have with Cristiano and Messi that they kind of sometimes it's difficult to say no, this guy is not the best. They were the best, in my opinion, in his career. And we have lots of great players, and also we've managed the best football sometimes in some periods. So don't having a Ballon d'Or Spanish, we just have one. Maybe you don't know Luis Suarez in the very, very beginning.
Right. Okay.
We just have one. So I think Spain should have a recognition. I'm not saying it's me, but yeah, let's see. It's something that I cannot control. It's something that everything that will come will be accepted and glad for. Because for me, being in that speech or in that conversation, imagine like it's already a compliment and a dream. So whatever it comes, I will take it. And yeah, I think as I said to you before, the last 2 years, I've been very important in my role in the team, and it's something that makes me so proud of.
Well, you should be. You definitely deserve to be in that conversation. I'm really excited to see what comes through this year.
Me too.
And I want to thank you for your time, and that was really
great,
interesting.
yeah.
It was lovely to meet you.
Thank you, guys.